Well, we are here, and that's kind of it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Parallel Stories podcast starring me and my life, which is so boring right now. We are back to the status quo. I'm back to where I'm living. The last couple episodes have been a little non-squo, as we used to say in debate in high school, non-squo, status quo. There was the improv episode, which don't say goodbye to Maureen just yet. She will be coming back because the Lord always rises. Yes, he does. And she will rise on the third day, like Jesus, her Lord, did. Yes. So that was different. And then, of course, my first guest episode with Trish. How awesome was that? But now we are back in this space with still the updated equipment, the ring light, the mic. So hopefully the audio is better. Since you can see it, I do want to explain to the non-audio listeners, you'll just have to listen. This beer bottle, Trish got me this plant, and it's on this desk chair because I bought a different desk chair several months ago. I got this one on Facebook Marketplace when I first moved into my previous apartment a few years ago. It was only $10. That woman came through so clutch because I really need a desk chair, and this was a very, very cheap one. But when I got the new one, I didn't want to quite give this away. So now it houses this plant next to my window so it can get some light. So that's really fun. I do want to apologize for my voice a little bit. I just woke up from a 4-hour nap, I think it was. My Amazon package still is not here yet. Oh, shout out to last episode talking about Amazon. I got a gift card because I participated in this government study about something. I don't know. They gave me a $30 Amazon gift card because I sent a saliva sample. That was like a month ago. So I thought they just didn't get it or they just weren't going to get back to me. But then I got the card in my email. So I was like, what am I going to buy? So I looked up personal massagers on Amazon and then quickly realized that that was not the keyword I was supposed to use. I needed to look up back massagers because personal massagers are something different. So that should have been here. It was eligible for like overnight shipping, like 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., which like I wouldn't have been awake at that time anyways. I could have done 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., but I didn't want to stress out the Amazon employees. So I just chose regular next day shipping, which is still really fast. I should be grateful. But now I'm like, should I have just like done that early morning, like 7 a.m. to 11 a.m.? So maybe it would have gotten here faster. I don't know. But if it doesn't come today by 8 p.m., which it's scheduled to, then it'll just come tomorrow, whatever. At least it delivers on Sundays, unlike USPS, which I just had to switch my car insurance and they're sending something over and they're using USPS. And I'm like, really, State Farm? You can't even afford UPS or FedEx. You're really using USPS? Don't get me wrong. I love government mail. I love that that's a service that exists to make sending mail cheaper. But like, if I'm going to be paying you $140 a month for car insurance, aka my dad, ooh, now I can whisper because I have this mic, aka my dad will be paying the $140 a month, but whatever. I said that to him and he was like, oh, expensive. And I'm like, yeah, because the state I'm living in is a no-fault state, so it's going to be more expensive. It's going to be even more when I move out west. But that's the point I wanted to get to. I am in the ultimate transition period of my life, which is just waiting to move out west. And I hate transition periods so much. And that is because I hate waiting. And transition periods are all about just waiting for the next thing to happen. I have to wait for my mom's lease to end in May. So the earliest we could do it is April 1st. And then I have to go there and get a job and blah, blah, blah. I actually just got off the phone with Pods Moving earlier today. I said just got off, but I also just said that I took a 4-hour nap, so it was obviously earlier today. But they quoted me at nearly $4,000, and it took like 20 minutes on the phone to get to that number. And when she said the $3,000, I said, oh, I just want to cancel everything because I've talked to a previous moving company, actually two, and they were closer to $2,000. So yeah, I don't know why Pods was doing all of that. So I'm going to have to call those other places up. God knows they keep emailing me anyway. So I know that they're going to still want my business and still be available because they very much still want my money. So that's going to be some money. But so now I'm just here and I've tried to think like, oh, like I just don't need to improve my life. I can just like laze around like I'm in a lazy river and just not care about myself and not care about self care or any of these other things because I'm going to be moving anyways and experiencing a big life change. But that's actually not the truth, Ellen. You were invited to my birthday party. That's not true, and I still feel bad sometimes. Like Trish asked when I said on the last episode that there are days when I just won't talk to anyone at all, not even like a fast food drive like employee when I'm getting food. And she said like how often does this happen? I can kind of tell that she was a little concerned. I guess that seemed really surprising to her, not only growing up in a family um of eight siblings, including her. I guess she wasn't never really used to any quiet days at all. Everything was probably pretty noisy, even like after like going to college and stuff. But I think just that to anyone would sound really concerning. Um, and last weekend, I was feeling a bit depressed and bored. It was also really cold. Like we had that snowstorm system. Weather people love using the word system. And you know what? I get that because it is a system. That came through. So that really put a dent in everything. And even if I wanted to go to the karaoke bar, I sometimes like to frequent, I couldn't because it was super cold. Tonight is different. It's 40 degrees and it was raining a bit and it was super cloudy. So I'm kind of glad I took a 4 hour nap to like pass time for the cloudiness. Um, but that helped get rid of some of the remainder of the snow and ice. So that's good. Thank God. The parking spaces in my apartment building complex have kind of been like a create your own, like build your own possible, build your own pizza because the ice kind of and snow kind of like ruined everything because it covered the lines. So you're kind of basing it off of where you were parked before. So those lines got just like a little messed up by like a couple inches, but I'm glad we'll be able to park accordingly now. But those spots are pretty sizable, so it's been good. I started a new job. Yay! I started a new job. I got some income and I got a $750 sign on bonus. So that was added to my yearly salary of 44,000. And I thought because of that, it was added to my yearly salary. So I would only get it technically if I worked for an entire year. But I just got my first check yesterday and I got half of that. So I was wrong. I guess I will get the next half for my next check in a couple weeks. It's taxed, which is expected. I feel like sign-on bonuses should not be taxed because it is a bonus, but this is America, so okay, fine. And at least they said it was taxed on the paycheck, so I'm not just like in this world of like, oh, is this like extra income that they didn't tax, and then by tax season coming around next year, I'm gonna be effed a little bit because like it never got taxed. It did get taxed. So that's fine. And the 44K, it will keep me afloat for these next few months and have some money left over to fund my moving. I also signed up for this in-home tutoring company, but they have not gotten back to me. And I filled out the form. So now I'm just wondering if they faked the entire thing and they're just stealing my identity because I did fill out the I-9. So like they have my social and my address and full name and everything. Um, but nothing's happened to my bank accounts or credit yet. So I think the season is just slow. Like they said, he said that the winter is slower, especially with the holidays. So I guess they'll just get back to me at some point. But that's $21 an hour. I had to really like go for that 21 because the max is 22. And he said, oh, usually we reserve the higher hourly wages for like the science and math people, which honestly, fuck the science and math people. Fuck them for getting the higher paying shit. Like, I'm skilled too, just because I'm more of like a psychology, reading, writing, English person. But I was able to get him up to 21 because I could help with college stuff. So I was like, yo, I'm able to help beyond secondary education and into college, that you agreed I can do that, like college prep and studying and stuff. So how about higher? And he said, yes, 21. And I felt confident to do that because it was a very informal interview, because it's just like a side gig. And he literally said that, like, people use this for a side gig. That's what we're looking for. So I was like, okay. But with that, I was like, oh, I just won't have as much personal time as I'm used to because I'm a really lazy person and I love, love, love my personal time and my free time, even though I can get super, super fucking bored. I still want it. It's this paradox and conundrum that I live in literally every single day of my goddamn life. It's so difficult to find a balance. But I was like, whatever, I'll just like not have as much personal time and then just move out to the West and see what things are going on. So my current job, the one that I got for In the Meantime, is I am so in the meantime coded. Check out that episode, which was really just a title of saying like I'm just giving life updates. I got a job. It's like social work, and I've been in the homes and I've been shadowing. I'm only a couple weeks in, and the first week was completely put off by the snowstorm. So that made things online. I don't think I did anything in person that first week, and people don't really go into the office that much. So I kind of lucked out with this job. Not necessarily the salary, even though in this economy, in this state, in this city, it's kind of good. It should be higher, really should be higher. It's not even what I maxed out at back at my job I was in for the longest, but also that salary was kind of fake because they couldn't afford me. So reminder, after I left, they did not replace me because they could not afford it. It was not in the budget. Then my most previous job that fired me, when that was $30 an hour with a 5% raise after 6 months, that felt legendary and felt really, honestly, it felt proportional to the cost of living and that I was dealing with. But that job was basically fake. It was a myth. It was a legend. They fired me after 3.5 weeks, and the director lied to me about a lot of stuff, and I was disillusioned to kind of everything really within the first week. So I can't really compare anything to that job. It was fake. It didn't really exist. So I'm a little bit back to where I started plus like $2,000. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And it should be fine. And it's interesting. I won't say a lot because of confidentiality. I actually do believe that confidentiality is not just legal, it's not just ethical, it's also moral, because unlike the Supreme Court, I believe that privacy is a human right. Jesus Christ, they are such in a Patriot Act mindset. I'm not going to talk too much politics. These next 4 years can lead to anything. I was talking to my best friend, Katrin, friend of the pod, actual friend of the pod, and she was like, what do you think about all this? And I said, well, I was watching this political person on, I think it's Wired. They have the tech help video series. It's like microbiologist answers or historian answers. And this was like a political historian. And she was saying that, there's been lots of bad times. She was taking questions from Twitter, and there have been like lots of bad and weird times in past US history. In my opinion, the biggest difference is social media. It is technology. And even though TikTok is going to get banned, even though Biden said he's not going to enforce it, he's going to leave that to Trump because Biden's like about to be out in like a week. And then Trump seems to have changed his mind on it and is not going to enforce it. And also, this has never happened before. So how is it going to be enforced? And TikTok themselves says they're going to go dark. But now Americans are moving to RedNote, another Chinese app. So I just don't know. I think if anything were to happen, social media is a really big thing that we have, and we're still going to have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We're still going to have a lot of socials options, Threads, Blue Sky. Like, there's still options there that are never going to be banned because they're American companies, and the government loves American companies. I just bit my canker sore again. Oh my God. I have a canker sore. I was eating earlier today and I bit down hard on it accidentally. Do you want to see it? How about now? It hurts. I had one like last year on this side. It was like the same area, just the other side. And it hurts. And I just, oh my God. And I just had to take a moment of silence for my canker sore and the fact that my pain limits are extremely low. So remember that one episode when I said I'm like interested in a BDSM relationship? That's going to be so fun when I find a sexual partner and I'm going to be like, no pain, no this, no that, don't do any of that. safe word, even though I guess those relationships don't actually use a safe word sometimes. That's going to be interesting. But um, yeah, social media is a really big difference. And sometimes I question if we're going to actually get another big moment. I feel like January 6th was that big moment, but it was really downplayed by half of Congress because the Republican Party kind of just dismissed it. And then Trump isn't actually going to get sentenced for it. And then he got elected to be president again. And he said he's going to pardon everyone who got convicted of it. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to have another Watergate or like any big stuff. I don't think Trump would ever resign ever. And I don't know if he's ever going to be exposed for something so clearly bad that no one can disagree with. But even then, I wonder if the Republican hive mind will just go along with whatever he wants. My hope is that the Democrats grow a fucking spine and a backbone, because I'm so sick of the Republicans being able to do whatever they want, putting 3 Supreme Court justices on the bench and overturning Roe v. Wade. I am so upset with them just literally breaking the law and getting away with it. I want some of that evilness and malice for the Democrats so we can use it to actually help people. But then again, some of the Democrats are also privatized and they're just working for the corporations and getting money. So it's just I don't know. It's just an I don't know situation. And Katja and her boyfriend, apparently gets really anxious about politics. And I said to her, why? He's a straight white man. What does he have to worry about? And she said that he just gets anxious sometimes, which I should be sympathetic as a generalized anxiety disorder bestie myself. She wants to move out of the country. She absolutely would feel comfortable living somewhere in Europe. I was not necessarily thinking about it, but me and my dad and Trish were watching Love Actually, a Christmas tradition for her because she needs to watch it every year. And there's this character who's like, oh, I'll just go to America and have sex with American girls because I'll have better luck with them than British girls. And he actually succeeds in that. And I know it's comical, the fact that he's not the best looking guy and he ends up finding women who are like so mega hot, like so out of his league. And it's implied that he has like a 5-way with these women in their house. So I was like, oh, French people are sluts. Not me stereotyping on Maine. French people are stereotypically associated with higher libido and sexuality. I should just go to France and find someone to have sex with there, because maybe I'll have better luck with a hot French guy versus a hot American guy. And my dad and Trish were supportive, but they were mainly like looking for me to go there for like cultural reasons and to just like have a vacation out of the country. Whereas I kept joking about how I would just be going there for sex. So that was an interesting conversation where I kept being comedic and sarcastic, and they truly were not picking up on it. And I was like, wow, this generation is just irony on top of irony on top of postmodern irony. And they, as Gen Xers, are just like not quite breaking through that. They're not exactly applying the brick break to my reflect and light screen, if you know what I mean, at Reggie Rock Talk, if you know what I mean. So I actually did look it up that Paris is very gay friendly. I was concerned about that. They are apparently very, very gay friendly. So that would be nice. And yeah, like I could drop maybe like $5,000 on that. I saw this reel that this girl who, she said like, oh, I need to save. And her friend said, what are you saving for? And now I've kind of got that in my mind because I'm a very frugal person. I mean, even spending nearly $2,000 on moving my things across the country worries me, even though like that's worth it to like move my entire life and start fresh. But I still don't like spending that money, even though I have it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see which job I get in the West. Speaking of that, I feel very, very even more like down in the dumps with new potential jobs. I suck at job searching so much. The fact that I got this job is actually kind of a miracle, and I kind of really lucked out with it. Like, I don't want to have the mentality of I'm so lucky for having a job, because that leads to my employers being able to like abuse me. That I'm not saying that's happening here. That's just like a general thing. Something I do want to bring up that made me mad just daydreaming about it and thinking about it, even though I don't have it confirmed. So my previous job was full of like sex negative old prudes. I will say, not to say that in a sexist way, but they were very sex negative, and it was strange for like a health-based place that gives out condoms and does STI testing and gives out lubricant, that they would have these attitudes. And there was one point where I was in the meeting, the second one time they pulled me in, and I said, "Are personal stories about menstruation inappropriate?" And the assistant director said yes. And I was like, oh, like that was Taylor Swift the moment I knew, Taylor's version, that something is boiling beneath the surface. And it actually did end up blowing over, and they fired me. But I was in onboarding for my current job, and they were talking about healthcare, blah blah blah, and she was saying like every year I get my physical and I get a mammogram and blah blah blah, and it made me think in the moment, like she just said mammogram. Mammograms are breasts, and obviously that's not inappropriate at all. That is healthcare. That is life-saving healthcare. And I thought it was really interesting because I was like, in my previous job, would they have had a problem with that if we had mentioned mammograms, because they deal with breasts and they're the ones sexualizing basic human anatomy and healthcare? And it's so interesting because my previous boss is actually a breast cancer survivor. So theoretically, a mammogram detected the cancer and then saved her life, and she was able to get the treatment that she needed. But none of that's confirmed. So that was me just like ruminating and spiraling a little bit. But anyways, I came across this article which was very revealing and basically just confirming everything that like Gen Z and millennials and even some like Gen Xers have been dealing with in this job market and this economy. And it was originally reported in the Wall Street Journal. I originally found in Fox News. I know, surprisingly, but it didn't seem like a politically charged article. And then came across another version. I think like either ABC or NBC. But it was basically about like an estimated 20% of jobs are ghost jobs. So that's 1 in 5. That is terrible. And as someone who worked in research in college, it is important to remember that one study is just one study. They're only looking at a certain amount of applications. They're only talking to a certain amount of talent recruiters. They're not talking to absolutely everyone, but it still is very revealing. It was also based in the UK. They were not looking at America, if I remember correctly, but about 1 in 5 jobs are ghost jobs. And then they reported that nearly 80% of talent recruiters ghost applicants. And that pissed me off to honestly no end. Not that much. I wasn't just fuming in my bed being like, I wasn't going like that, but I was like, oh my damn God. Like, this is all so fucked up. I saw a reel today, and I don't know if it's real or not. Like, I always have to take these stories with a grain of salt. But it was someone who got a call from a talent recruiter saying that they were not moving forward with that applicant, which I feel like that's the first red flag that the story may be false or fabricated, because what talent recruiter calls you to say that they're not going to hire you? I guess it could happen. I'm just used to the rejection emails. But they called and said, we're not moving forward with you. And the person said, oh, was it something in my resume? Like, could I get some feedback on my resume? And apparently the talent recruiter had not looked at that person's resume, and they had just gotten the feedback from the AI system they use to vet resumes. And then the talent recruiter then, during the call, looked at their resume and actually liked what they saw, and I think wanted to move forward with an interview with that person or something. At the very least, they were into what they were seeing on the resume and liked that experience. So these AI systems are ruining everything. And this article really talked about at length about like talent recruiting needs to be more people focused instead of AI focused and technology focused. These job listings are unrealistic. And it was so interesting to read that, because I only know of job listings that are super long. It's like, here's about the company, here's our values, here's the entire damn job description, here's a list of our benefits. And those things are important to know, but I'm just like, going to look for a couple of things that make me feel like I might be at all qualified for this job and then just apply for it. And apparently that's not supposed to be the case. And also, oh my God, this actually made me so happy that this was addressed. They actually had a statistic of how many entry level jobs required at least like 2+ years of experience. I don't remember what it is, but I think it was higher than 20%. I think that was between 20 to 80%, because the 20% and 80% are the statistics I actually remember specifically. And I think it was somewhere between that. But I was like, yes, like I see entry level jobs that want like a couple years or a few years of experience. And I honestly believe that talent recruiters or jobs or companies only put that on the job listing because they can. I think it's because they don't want to actually put time into training people, which is what the article said. Like entry level jobs are supposed to be an investment in someone. And these companies just don't want to do that. They just want to hire someone who already has experience. They don't need to spend time training them. And so they can just be another cog in the machine and chug out their work for these profits. I've also seen reels about of having a false sense of urgency. I forget what the actual phrase is. I don't think it's false urgency. I think it's something else. But this idea of like just in these random companies of like, oh, like we have to do this now, and this is urgent. We have to do this now, 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 now. And it's like, we're not doctors, we're not medical people, we're not any of these things. So like, what's the deal with this false sense of urgency? And it does make you panic. I remember seeing a post that was like, me going into my like office job with the anxiety of someone being hunted for sport. And I did feel that. And I remember after getting pulled in and after all this drama happened with the previous job, that I was feeling really anxious, like the second I stepped into work, and just like trying to go about my day and being like, oh, is someone like looking at me over their shoulder? Is someone doing this or that? Are they looking at me or with a magnifying glass? And it was really stressful. And it shouldn't have been that stressful because it was never that serious. And so I feel like these companies have just really lost it. They have their heads up their asses. Apparently tech jobs are in the shitter and they're not hiring anymore. And that's been happening for a while. And it's just like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And like I said, I'm really bad at job hunting. I'm bad at looking for what I need to go for. And I came to the realization again that the last 5 years of my life have really kind of been a waste, because I have this like patchwork resume that doesn't have any skills specialized in anything. It's just this random assortment of stuff, like less than 2 years in a research lab, less than 2 years working for the student newspaper, like a couple summer jobs that are only 3 months, like less than 1 year of this student front desk job, 15 months of this nonprofit job, 3.5 weeks of a job I can't name because I got fired from it. This job that I'm only going to be in for like 3 to 4 months that I can't mention because that's also a really short period of time. So I really just don't have a lot of leverage when it comes to like, here are the skills that I have. I'm really good at interviewing. I was really impressed at the interviews I've been doing recently when I was getting this job. I did a really good job, and so I'm glad I can at least interview really well. And it seems like people really like me when they get me in an interview, but even getting to that phase can be really hard. So I was looking at like copywriting jobs because I'm a writer, and they want you to have all this experience in this portfolio of things for like products, not personal essays, not novels, not anything of the writing that I actually do, but just like product stuff. And I wholeheartedly believe I could just do that, like write about products. I believe I would have the skill for that, but if they don't see that on my resume, or if I don't have the chance of spinning it at all, then they're not going to want to hire me. They're going to want to hire someone more experienced. And like, I don't want to continue working in social work. I don't want to continue working in a nonprofit sector of any kind just because the salary is just bad. And like, even the copywriting jobs, which I thought would also be kind of a low salary, some of them start at like 60K. So I would really appreciate that. And like, you might think like the benefits would be good, but the benefits at my 15-month job, that was actually good. The PTO was good, and I didn't know at the time, but the healthcare was good too. The benefits now in my current job, let me remind you, the salary is $44K with a $750 sign-on bonus I'm getting in 2 installments. And the healthcare, the PPO, I don't want to deal with a flexible savings account or a health savings account because I might need stuff done, probably not in the next few months. I mean, the healthcare kicks in March, for God's sake, and I'm going to hopefully be out by like April 1st, so it doesn't really matter. But the PPO is $75 a paycheck, and that is the cheaper rate. Some companies have the wellness rate. That is the wellness rate. And the deductible is nearly $7,000. When I was at my 15-month job, that premium was $64 a paycheck. And then you could do the wellness rate if you get a certain amount of wellness points. That was $10 less per month. So that would be $59 per paycheck for the PPO. The deductible was only $3,000. So I'm just like, higher premium and higher deductible. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, the dental is free, but still, the dental at the 15-monther was like $3 a paycheck. And the vision insurance was like 75 cents a paycheck. Oh, and the PTO for my current job is like a month, or is like 1 day per month of working. You do get like certain holidays off, like the standard, but I'm like, oh my God, maybe I didn't have it so bad at my 15-monther, but I am observing some really big differences that I'm actually glad I'm getting an opposite end. And that way I have a bigger spectrum view of like what a corporate job is. I mean, they're not technically corporate, they're like nonprofit, but you know what I mean, like an office job. Well, actually this one is very much home-based and like working in your home or going to your clients' homes. But anyways, meetings. There are already, I've only done 2 weeks at this job, but there's already so much less meetings. I feel like at the jobs I've had before, it was just meetings on top of meetings and like all these meetings. And we've all heard it before. This meeting could have been an email. But also at that 15-monther, there were so many projects and I was just like juggling all this stuff. And there was just like not a lot of stuff, but also a lot of stuff happening at the same time. And it was kind of confusing. And yeah, it was just like juggling all these different tasks and projects and different things that we were focusing on. Whereas this job is really just the trainings, which I can't do a lot of them because there's a glitch on the employment website. So that's fun. A lot of the trainings I have to do, I can't even do. And HR is aware. They said they're working to fix it. They did not give me an ETA, so that's fun, but apparently they're working to fix it. Not my fault. Hey, I'm trying to adopt a Katya mindset where I just don't care about my job and I just don't stress about things that are outside of my control. And I'm kind of doing well with it. I'm a bit proud of myself. I'm kind of getting there. It's so funny. I told my dad that recently and he said, and just remember when you get a job in the future to like, get back to like working hard. And I was like, yeah, okay. When I got my first job, he told me, whatever they ask you to do, just do it. And I feel like he would have a different mindset now because this is 6 years later and the economy has gotten so much worse and these jobs are just out of their minds. I feel like he would have a different mindset now. Remember, this is the job that put me in the middle of the front of the truck on a folding chair without a seatbelt, which is undoubtedly a labor law violation. And like they just did it without blinking. That's fun. Just do whatever they tell me for $10 an hour. Obviously, like it's so ridiculous. But this current job, we did have a meeting, a Teams meeting, and we did spend 30 minutes on intros and icebreakers. And that really, like, I felt that was like a million knives, like in my body, like on my person stabbing me, because it took 30 minutes of people just saying their name and the favorite part of their job. And I was like, what if I lit myself on fire? What if I lit my apartment on fire? And what if I just died? Because that is not like proportional to me and my desire to be a person that is happy. That is not leading to that. Spending 30 minutes on icebreakers and intros. That would happen at the 15-monther job on the big meetings with like different like community partners, and oh my god, was that awful completely. And I think that's my least favorite part of any job, is spending 30 minutes on intros and icebreakers, because I'm going to forget your name anyway. I'm literally going to forget your name and who you are, so I don't understand why this is important. um but other than that, just like shadowing, and just it's like more basic, like less juggling of many different things and more focusing in on juggling on certain things, if that makes sense. Like it's gone from one big circle to several small circles, and the small circles are the families. And I think there's more paperwork and more documentation you have to do. That's a little bit tedious and annoying, but I think I'll be able to manage it. And like I said, I'm really just shadowing and doing trainings, and that's going to be the majority of my first few months. And then I'm going to. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. Am I right? Literally, I'm like alphabet. Just whoop. If you care to find me, I'll be over there, stage west, over there. Do I feel bad? Kinda. Am I gonna move on? Yes. So, anyways, it is the new year. We are in 2025, and I thought it would be good for me to go over some New Year's resolutions and maybe do some review. Let me get it. Hold on. Okay, I have it. So this is what I had up for the entirety of 2024 on my fridge, magneted with, that's not a word, whatever, with this magnet. Can you see it? It's a Powerpuff Girls fridge magnet that I got at this event with Katrin, like probably like 5 years ago. I think it was 5 years ago when we were graduating high school. She went to this thing where you could get free stuff, and I liked this. So I've had this for 5 years. I'm telling you, I'm a very sustainable person. I just don't throw stuff away. But I wrote it on this notepad. It says productive as fuck. Trish got me this 3 years ago. Maybe that's not sustainability and more just a testament of how much I don't like to write things down on paper. But let's go over these goals for 2024 and say whether I accomplished them or not, and whether I'd want to carry them into the new year. Because I was seeing posts on Instagram about like how to refresh yourself in the new year, how to do blah, blah, blah for the new year. And I'm like, oh my God, this is aesthetic Instagram nonsense. Some of it wasn't, some of it was. And I would have to like hone back in on myself and think about what I really want outside of all the Canva aesthetic stuff. And I'm saying that as someone who loves Canva. And I just need to hone it back into me and my world and my being. So let's go over these. 1, I will give myself more grace. I would say that was a really big challenge because of my anxiety. I also got fired, and that put me down in the dumps. So I would say that one has been and will still be a work in progress. Next, I will be comfortable spending more money on food. That I absolutely did accomplish. And I'm not talking about like fancy, extravagant, like restaurant food. I'm talking about just groceries, just buying stuff at the grocery store at my local Walmart that I want to spend a bit more money on, just to have a bit more flavor in my food, or just more quality food, or just things like that. So I did do that, and I will be cooking soon, and I think I will finally be making an actual sauce, because I've been trying to make a sauce and I've been failing miserably because I did not have 2 key ingredients, which I recently got: heavy whipping cream and flour. So hopefully that will be able to make a sauce, because when I was in Asheville with my dad and my stepmom, we went to this Italian restaurant. I got the best dish out of the 3 of us. I got their chicken piccata, and that had a sauce, and it was really good. And even they really liked it too. And we were talking about it, and she was like, "No, this is like cream. Like this is a cream-based sauce." Because I don't like cheese, but like a cream is fine, like a light cream. So I'm gonna be making salmon. I have a shrimp scampi spice packet. So I'm gonna be trying to make the sauce, and hopefully it goes well. I got bleach flour because it was the cheapest, but it also scared me. So last night I looked up what bleach flour means, and it just means that they like purify or something. I don't know. I thought they used like actual bleach, like laundry detergent bleach and I was worried it was going to kill me and it's not safe to eat. That's not true. You can eat it. It's fine. They wouldn't have it in the food aisle if you couldn't eat it. Right? I will have courage during times of fear and uncertainty. I feel like this one is always like back and forth. For the courage thing, I do want to note back to Power Rangers Mystic Force, where courage is a major theme of it. They get really telly with it, but in their defense, the Japanese Sentai that they base it off of also really emphasizes courage. I watched the first episode on YouTube with English subtitles, and even then they mentioned courage. So I'm like, okay, this is just a theme they carried into the American version. And like courage, sure. I feel like it's just like I keep bouncing back. I feel like it's the resilience, which I feel like is also on here. No, it's not. I should have put that on there, resilience. But I feel like I just keep going, and it's not necessarily courage. It's just like I just keep going and doing it. I don't know. I have this art project in the works. Something that's going to be very bitter and scornful. I'm going to do it like right before I move, like the week before I move. And if I send it to my previous employer, that would be courageous or stupid, but we'll see about that. If I do, it would be after I've crossed state lines, believe me. I will trust in my ability to work through challenges when outcomes are not positive. Yeah, I think so. I just work through challenges when outcomes are not positive. Like, yeah, I kind of felt that. I don't know. It's just the anxiety thing. Anxiety really just takes over my life sometimes. So like I keep going, but it's always tinted with this just like worry that's always either in the forefront or it's in the back of my mind. It's always there. I will acknowledge my beautiful attributes and traits. Yeah, sure. I feel like when I was visiting Asheville, I did come to the realization that like I know myself very well, but I have not found the place where I fit in. And I'm hoping to find that out west and find my people because I really have not found that here. Yeah, I really have not. I've been friendless for the last like 4 years in this state. So hopefully by moving, I'll be able to find some people that I vibe with because I do have a lot of beautiful attributes and traits. I'm really smart. I'm very kind, even though I come off like a total bitch. I'm quite kind. I'm very caring. I'm creative. I am very independent and very capable. So I do have things I should recognize about myself. And it will help me when people doubt me, like doubt my self-efficacy, or they think I'm some sort of fucking predator, then I can remember that that's not my truth. And my truth is what matters when it comes to myself, no one else's truth. Lastly, I will radiate life and energy like the bounty of things around me. So this came from an Instagram post. Again, social media, lots of social media in my life. Pop culture, of course. This came from a post. It was like a picture of a dragonfly on a flower, and it said like, there's so much beauty around me, or like I'm buzzing like with beauty, like all the things around me, or something like that. And that did really impact me. I did really enjoy that because there are lots of beautiful things around me, especially in nature. And I am from nature. I am of nature. I also radiate. I also shine like the ring light in front of me. And there is a big bounty of things around me. So I really like that one. I think for the new year, which is really just for when I'm moving, I mean, I should remember that like I'm still living in the here and now, and I should still want to improve my life and be a better person and live a better life while I'm still here. It just kind of feels like worthless because I will be moving, and I do see that as a big life change. Is that automatically going to improve my life? No, there's still going to be have to like steps that I take to make my life better even when I move, but I feel like I'll have more potential out there, and there will just be in general more potential for me to improve my life because everyone in the state, like I've said before, or may have said before, if not, this is me saying it for the first time, everyone in the state is dumb and ugly and I can't take it anymore. Like literally, like everyone is dumb and ugly. And like as someone who is super sexy and hot and so intelligent and intellectual in a way that nobody truly understands, like I can't be here because I am just better than everyone else and like they're not like on my level, and it's really just putting me down. And like Trixie Mattel said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you'll never learn anything. And if you're the hottest person in the room, you're not going to want to fuck anyone. So like, what's the, like, I just, it's hard. It really is hard. So, things I want to take into the new year and my new space. I do want to be a kind person. I feel like in a world where things can be so messy and things are constantly shifting and changing, and you're meeting new people and there's always new things happening and you're always starting a new journey, I think kindness is one of the best things that you can is one of the best traits you can have for yourself. I think it's one of the best virtues. It carries you so far into everything. People really appreciate kindness, even small acts of kindness, and they remember it, and that can really help you down the line. Obviously that's selfish, but like if you're still kind, then like who cares? I personally believe it cancels out. um so I just feel like kindness is a really great universal thing that will always be good. And obviously, I'm not going to let people walk all over me. I don't do that. My mom's a people pleaser. I am not. I fucking hate everyone and everything, and I will not be pleasing anyone. Thank you very much. But I do think kindness is a good thing. Like Taylor, oh no, I was going to say like Taylor Swift said. She said forgiveness is a nice thing to do, and that's good too. I will not be forgiving anyone. Something about me, I never forgive, and I sure as hell don't forget. I have a very strong memory with certain things. And if you screw me, I will remember it for the rest of my life and take it with me in the grave, while also in the meantime of between living and dying, telling it to a bunch of people that I know and also strangers on the internet. Hello, how are you doing? So I will be I will prioritize and express kindness. That's a good New Year's resolution. Something else is extroversion. As someone who was a psychology student, I can tell you extroverted people tend to do really well in life, especially if they're nice, especially if they're funny, because they're outgoing and they're fun to be around and they have a good presence. They're usually very like outspoken, and people really appreciate that and like that. And as someone who's been an introvert my entire life but can still be extroverted, I mean, I literally work in social work right now. So like constantly meeting and talking to strangers and building relationships with them. So I think it's really funny how that worked out. But I still want to be more extroverted. I want to go out and do things. I want to get over my like going to bed at like 9:30 or like being in bed at 9:30 and like being super tired at night. I want to be a person who's actually in my 20s and like having energy. So I will be extroverted. I didn't really like the way I phrased that. I will prioritize. Well, I already said that for the kindness. I will not express extroversion. That doesn't really make sense. I will be more extroverted. I think that's a good thing. If I were doing a SMART goal, it'd be like, I would attend one thing every week. I fucking hate SMART goals. I think SMART goals are awful and they piss me off to no end. For people who need it, they need it. But as someone who can create a plan like that was not a good snap. Hold on. Nope. My hands are too dry. As someone who can create a plan like that, I think SMART goals are worthless for me. And I also think just having a plan is just words. Like that's just words on paper, and that doesn't actually mean anything, because that doesn't mean I'm going to go through with it. So I hate SMART goals so much. I will not be doing that. I will be keeping these general because I know how to formulate things in my head, and I don't need a SMART goal to tell me how to do it. For those of you who enjoy and benefit from SMART goals, good for you. I could never be that person because I don't want to be. SMART goals are like TED Talks. I actually started coming around to TED Talks at my 15-monther because I was using them for educational purposes, but whatever. SMART goals are like TED Talks. They suck. I will not stress. I will change my medication, even though I took a DNA test to figure out what psychiatric medication would work best for me. Practicing more self-care is a good idea. Oh, I will finish the third book in my trilogy, Risen. I will finish that. I do want to finish that by the end of this year. Trish did tell me that she thinks I should take a writing break just because I am going through this life transition and focus more on my like creative social media. And I did really like that idea, so I will be pursuing that. So my writing is officially on hold. Besides my creative project, which is going to be less of prose and more like something else, but that will be down the line in a few months. I don't know why I'm looking at this paper. These are my old goals, and it's not like I'm writing these down. But I will be kind. I will be extroverted. I will practice more self care. I want to be more irresponsible. I think that goes into with giving myself more grace because I feel like me, and I was talking about this with Katrin the other day, we have always had to be responsible. Honestly, her more than me. She had a lot more responsibilities than I did in high school. God, her life fucking sucked in high school. Her life really sucked in high school. Sorry, I'm airing out her dirty laundry, but like her life really sucked in high school. But even now, it's like we need to have jobs, we need to have income, we need to have health insurance. Like we have not been living like we're just vibing in our 20s. Like we have not been doing that. We have had to be responsible and be on our own and be on steady ground by ourselves. And it's really annoying having to like have those responsibilities. And like I was also like that in college. I wasn't partying in college. And then the pandemic, like even though I wanted to, the pandemic really put a hold on that. So I just want like I don't know. I really don't like taking risks. Like I'm not going to. Well, I don't drink, so I would never show up hungover to anything. But I wouldn't like stay up late on a Sunday night knowing I had to be at work the following morning. Like I wouldn't do that. That's just generally not a good idea, and that would make me feel physically exhausted and bad. So like that's really not a good idea. But I do want to have more of like a carefree mindset, especially because being really on top of things, like it got me fired. Like that's what happened. Like I like everything that I've been doing led up to that moment, and now everything I'm doing has led up to me moving across the country. So like what does it really matter? Like honestly, even if I do everything right, things can still not go my way. Like when thinking about a job, they could restructure me out of my position, lay me off. They could fire me for whatever reason. I don't know if the state I'm moving to is at will or not, but if they are, they can truly fire me for literally whatever reason they want to, unless it's discrimination, but I'd have to prove that, and that would be a really tough battle. So like I could try to do my best, but even then I could still fail. So I think what I really want is to work for myself, and maybe I could put that as a goal. I could put more money into this. I could pay for like ads on social media to promote my posts and reels, which is really not a bad idea. And I actually know how to do that because of when I was in a research lab. I managed our Facebook and Instagram ads for our research project, and I already changed my accounts to like a business account. So it would actually be really easy to do, and I know I could do it. But I want to hold off a little bit. I want to mellow out my finances for now. I mean, I could really reach thousands of impressions for like only $20. I was about to say 20,000. It's not $20,000, and it's not 20,000 impressions either. But it could be like a few thousand impressions for like $20. For like multiple posts. And so that's kind of like easy, and that's really not a lot of money, and it could be worthwhile. But I want to mellow out my finances, and I want to see how things go organically and still kind of like play the game a little bit and see how that goes. But during my onboarding, they were showing the company structure map. What's it called? Oh no, it's yeah, like the company pyramid, like whatever. But my position was at the absolute bottom, and I remember looking at that and just really not enjoying that. I really hate being on the bottom and like being in a place where disrespect might happen, and that's not currently happening. I think management is trying their best to care about us. I mean, it would be good if we made more money, but they're trying to emphasize like surveys to get our feedback and like mental wellness and things like that. So like they're trying. So like it was just me like getting my own impression of that company structure, but it was not a good feeling. And I just remember working for the student newspaper and them like kind of like disrespecting me in my position, and it really like felt bad and led to a lot of like spite for them, and I just really like stopped caring about them near the tail end of my position there. And so it was really frustrating. And so if I just worked for myself, then like I'm the only one, and like I'm not at the top or the bottom. It's kind of just me. But that's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard to just work for yourself. There's pros, there are cons. You don't have like an 8 to 5 anymore, but you're also then kind of like working around the clock. So it is what it is. But honestly, just like the meetings and just like the bullshit meetings and just like management bullshit and like HR glitches and can't even get my trainings done. It's just, I'm like really growing resentful and tired of it at 23 years old. So it would be cool if I could find a way around that, because it's just like really frustrating, and I just really am not enjoying it. So I will put more time and energy into my social media career. I honestly like that New Year's goal. I mean, this could go viral or pop off at any time. And I definitely, if that ever happened, I would take all the opportunities that I can, and I would grasp all the moments that I can to be successful in this, because a lot of good things could come from it, especially with just like general creative expression. Like this thing I'm going to be making, if that popped off, like I feel like that would like it would feel so good, and it would make my heart feel so whole, even though it is going to be extremely bitter and scornful, the most bitter thing I've ever made in my entire life. But it would like, that would be really awesome, and that would make me feel really great. It would feel so authentic and amazing. And so that could be something that I promote and put some money into if I'm really serious about it. We'll see. We'll see how much I'm able to work it out, and if I think it's worth it, and if I put the proper energy into it. I'm planning to have like to quit and then have a week off where I get all my things together and get all my ducks in a row for the big move, even though I really don't have that much stuff. Um, so I will be using that time to make this project, and I think it could be really, really amazing. And I would like to see that be successful, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that might be it. I think that might be it for like the values and the goals. I don't know. I still need to find a job out there. I need to do all the honestly, the finding the job is the biggest thing. My mom needs to find a place. I actually need to like break my lease and go through all those things and move. You see how like the cogs just turn, and like I just don't have it in me to be carefree, especially because I can't really rely on anyone else to do this for me. There's a lot of stuff I need to do myself. I can't have my dad call up my leasing office and break my lease for me. Like it's only in my name. I can't have him call up movers to move my stuff because I'm the one who's moving. So they need my information. Like he couldn't even switch over the car insurance. He told me to do that. And I was like, God damn it. Just like another thing that I need to do. But I did do that and it all worked out. Thank God he's paying for it. Thank you, Papa, because this economy sucks. And I really appreciate that. So thank you. Love you. Illy. That stands for ILY. I love you. Thank you. Um, Want to clarify that I don't just love him because he supports me financially. I also just love him in general because he's my father and he's great. Okay. Okay, haters about to come for me. Okay. Um. Oh, also I want a boyfriend. Oh, I will lose my virginity. That's a fun goal to have in 2025. Honestly, if I could just have like a positive sexual encounter, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be full on losing my virginity. If it could just be like a positive makeout session where I'm like actually turned on instead of like nearly throwing up like what happened before, that would be really great. So yeah, I will have a positive sexual experience. Even a nice kiss in a club or a bar would be amazing. That would be really great. So those are my 2025 New Year's resolutions. Those are also some updates on my current whereabouts, if you will, and just the things I have going on in my life, and really just waiting for this next period to start. Really looking for April to May. Like, honestly, the earlier the better. And my mom knows that. She really wants me to get out of here because she knows I'm quite miserable. So hopefully by next month, everything should be more worked out, and she and my brother will work on finding a place. Then I'll be out of here, and you best believe I'm going to be making an episode detailing my move, or not vlogging it, but like an episode before I move, an episode after I move, and just the things I've been going on or will have going on. So don't worry, there will absolutely be more stories coming your way, and Maureen will come back, and maybe a potential new character that I want to experiment with. So make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to leave any nice, amazing comments of support. That'd be really nice. Even if they're not so supportive, it'd still be good for my engagement. Tell all your friends about this amazing, amazing original podcast that has so much amazing quotes and amazing energy to it. And yeah, this has been the Parallel Stories podcast, and I hope your life is going a bit better than mine. But if not, we can go on this journey of improvement together. See you next time. Bye.